Today we're talking about bullying. And with us from Boston is Dr. William Pollack, who is the author of Real Boys, Rescuing Our Sons from the Myths of Boyhood. And Dr. Pollack is also the director of McLean Hospital Centers for Men and Young Men, and also an old friend. I'm really thrilled that he's here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ann.
So let's just talk about the signs of bullying, because the girls we saw on the tape package, they told their mothers they were being bullied, but often children don't. How do you know?
Often they won't speak. Girls will speak more often than boys will. If they start not wanting to go to school where they did before, if they have stomach aches and other physical symptoms that the pediatrician doesn't think are physical, if they start feeling down and depressed, like a depression, it's almost like a small trauma kind of response. I mean, you probably know that over more than 100,000 kids a day are bullied, and if they don't want to be with their friends and they're listless and by themselves, they're probably being bullied.
And if you think that's what's happening, or if your child says, yes, that's what's happening, what's the best recourse? I mean, should you call the parents of the other kid? Should you talk to teachers? What's the best approach?
Never call the parents of the other kids, because you never know what the response will be. The parents could be punitive to the other child. They could be angry toward your child. You get involved with the school. You get involved with other parents whose kids might be being bullied, and you go to the school as a whole school event and talk to the administrators about creating a climate of safety where this cannot occur.
And you know, the other thing I was wondering, with all of what's going on in cyberspace these days, you hear a lot about cyberbullying, and it used to be
Yes.
that boy bullying and girl bullying was very different, but do you think that the online world is blurring those distinctions?
It's becoming an equal opportunity horrible employer. Although girls tend to cyberbully by saying mean things about other girls behind their backs or to their faces, and they find out about it. And boys tend to cyberbully by being more harassing. But boys take the technology, girls take the emotional connection, and it becomes a disconnection. Because bullying is disconnection. The solution to it is reconnecting to an adult who cares and does something about it with other adults in a community setting.
So if in fact you do take the steps, I mean, your research shows that you can in fact help a child, and it can have a significant impact, whereas if you don't do anything, the negative consequences can be really devastating.
The negative consequences can be low grades, low self-esteem, up to and including depression and suicidal behavior, or with boys, homicidal behavior. It's a crisis, but you can do something. Parents shouldn't feel disconnected and bullied themselves. They should get together with other parents who have felt this hurt and go to the school administrators and say, there's something about this climate that allows this to happen. It has to stop. Not to blame anyone or to shame anyone. That's the problem. But bullying cannot take place in an environment where other adults in responsibility don't allow it to take place.
I have one last question. What if you're the parent of a child who is the bully? What should you do then?
Be open-minded. Unless your child is one of 0.001% of invertebrate bullies, that your child is more likely, from our research, to be depressed and showing it through aggression. Get them some help. Get them some individual help. Don't put them in a group with other bullies, because that doesn't work. Don't get angry at them, but just tell them the behavior is unacceptable. They're not unacceptable. There must be something wrong. You know they're a good kid. You'll help them.
The other thing I wanted to know, Bill, is what do you think, there's so many programs now where schools are trying to create this atmosphere of no tolerance, zero tolerance. What are the ones that seem to be successful? What are maybe the 2 or 3 characteristics of the successful programs that parents should know about?
First of all, actual zero tolerance doesn't work. No tolerance for the behavior is fine, but we have to have tolerance for the kids. The programs work if all the adults buy in, and by the way, if the adult administrators aren't bullying each other and the teachers aren't bullying each other, which unfortunately sometimes happens. Emerson said, our actions speak so loudly they can hardly hear our words. So modeling by adults, teaching the kids how to have allies and support, not to beat up the bully, but to stand by their side, and not to be bystanders, to have an adult they trust they can go to who will do something positive, not punitive, to stop it, and to have a good bridge and connection between the parents, amongst the parents, the community, and the school, who really believe that bullying is dangerous and need not exist in that school.